Chapter 1: The Silence of Erebus -9. The year was 2149, and humanity had achieved what earlier generations believed impossible. Permanent colonies had been established across nearby star systems, transforming distant planets into centers of mining, research, and scientific discovery. Among them was Erebus 9, a cold, rocky world orbiting a dying red star nearly 38 light-years from Earth. Rich in rare minerals and hidden beneath layers of black volcanic rock, Erebus 9 had become one of the most valuable colonies ever built. More than 600 scientists, engineers, miners, and security personnel called the isolated settlement home. For nearly 5 years, the colony operated without a single major incident. Then, in less than 24 hours, every transmission from Erebus 9 stopped. At first, Mission Control assumed it was a communications failure caused by the planet's violent electromagnetic storms. Backup satellites were activated, emergency frequencies were opened, and automated repair drones were dispatched. None responded. Then, exactly 19 hours after the silence began, one final distress signal broke through the interference. It lasted only 27 seconds, but those 27 seconds changed humanity forever. Inside the underground command center beneath Earth's defense headquarters, dozens of officers stared silently at the holographic recording as it played for what felt like the 100th time. The footage showed terrified scientists running through a corridor lit by flickering emergency lights. Alarms screamed in the background while metal doors slammed shut one after another. "We've sealed Level 4, someone shouted through the panic. It broke through the blast doors. It's coming. Another voice cried desperately. What is that thing? It isn't stopping. The camera shook violently as its owner ran. For a brief second, something appeared at the end of the corridor. It was enormous, almost 3 meters tall, with a dark metallic body reflecting the flashing red lights. Its glowing crimson eyes scanned the hallway without emotion. Heavy mechanical footsteps echoed louder with every second. A scientist whispered in terror, "No, no, please." The creature raised one massive arm. A burst of blinding blue energy filled the screen. The transmission ended. Silence returned. General Adrian Wolfe slowly switched off the hologram. No one spoke for several moments. Finally, Colonel Harris broke the silence. "Could it be one of ours?" Wolfe shook his head. "We've checked every classified weapons program on Earth. Nothing matches this machine. So what are we dealing with?" another officer asked. The general looked around the room before answering quietly. "We're dealing with something built by someone else." The words settled over the room like ice. Within hours, the United Earth Council declared Erebus 9 a quarantined zone. Civilian rescue operations were cancelled immediately. Any ordinary rescue team would simply become more victims. If anyone was going to investigate the colony, it had to be soldiers trained for missions where survival was never guaranteed. 2 days later, inside Orbital Military Station Atlas, 6 soldiers entered Briefing Room 7. None of them had ever met as one team before, although each knew the others by reputation. Captain Marcus Kane stood near the front of the room, tall and composed, his expression unreadable. At 42, he had completed more classified operations than anyone else in the Special Reconnaissance Division. Soldiers often joked that Kane had survived missions that official records insisted had never happened. Lieutenant Ava Brooks entered next, carrying her precision rifle case over one shoulder. She rarely spoke unless necessary, but throughout the military she was respected as one of the finest long-range reconnaissance specialists alive. Sergeant Ethan Cole followed, easily the largest member of the team. His heavy armor looked almost ordinary on his broad frame. Despite his intimidating appearance, Ethan was known for keeping morale high during impossible missions. Corporal Leo Grant arrived carrying a small toolkit instead of a weapon. He was the team's engineer and demolition expert, capable of repairing advanced technology almost as quickly as he could destroy it. Specialist Maya Ortiz entered quietly, reviewing medical files on her wrist display. She served as both combat medic and xenobiologist, making her uniquely qualified to analyze anything non-human the mission might uncover. The final member, Private Ryan Cross, looked younger than everyone else. At only 26, he was already considered one of Earth's most gifted cyberwarfare specialists, capable of hacking military networks and controlling reconnaissance drones under active combat conditions. General Wolf stepped into the room. "Take your seats." A holographic image of Erebus 9 rotated above the table. "This colony lost all communication 73 hours ago. Estimated civilian population, 612. Ryan frowned. "No escape pods launched?" "None." "No survivors contacted nearby stations?" "None." Marcus folded his arms. "Objective?" the general answered without hesitation. "Investigate the colony. Search for survivors. Determine what happened. And if we find whatever caused it?" Ethan asked. Wolf's eyes hardened. "You eliminate it." The room became quiet again. Leo leaned forward. "Sir, with respect, what exactly are we hunting?" The general activated the final distress recording. The soldiers watched every second. When the towering machine appeared, even Ethan stopped smiling. After the recording ended, Ava spoke first. "That's no combat robot I've ever seen." "It isn't," Wolf replied. Maya looked closer at the frozen image. "The joints don't match human engineering." "Correct." Ryan swallowed. "So, we're looking at extraterrestrial technology?" The general nodded once. "Our scientists believe the mining operation uncovered an ancient structure beneath the planet's surface. We suspect the colony activated something that should have remained buried." Marcus finally broke the silence. "Any information about its weapons?" "None." "Armor?" "Unknown." "Weaknesses?" "We have absolutely no idea." Marcus gave a small nod. "Understood." The general looked at each soldier individually. "I won't lie to any of you. This mission carries an extremely low probability of survival." Ethan chuckled softly. "If the odds were good, you wouldn't have called us." A few smiles appeared around the room. For a brief moment, the tension eased. The general managed a faint smile himself. Exactly. 36 hours later, the military dropship Valkyrie emerged from faster-than-light travel near Erebus 9. Through the cockpit windows, the planet appeared lifeless, a dark sphere streaked with endless mountain ranges and frozen plains beneath crimson clouds. As the ship descended through the atmosphere, violent winds battered its hull. Ryan looked through the side window. "This place feels dead." Leo replied quietly. "Maybe it already is." Marcus stood near the cockpit. "Status?" The pilot answered. "Approaching colony perimeter. No incoming communications. No radar signatures. No defense systems online." Ava adjusted her rifle. "Too quiet." The dropship landed with a heavy thud inside the colony's main landing zone. The massive metal gates stood wide open. Cargo containers were scattered across the platform exactly where workers had abandoned them. No vehicles moved. No lights shone from the buildings. Not even the sound of machinery remained. Only the cold wind echoed through the empty settlement. The 6 soldiers slowly stepped onto the frozen surface, weapons raised, carefully scanning every direction. Ryan whispered into his helmet microphone, "I've got nothing on thermal scanners." "Neither do I," Maya answered. Marcus surveyed the deserted colony. "Stay together. Nobody separates." As they advanced toward the central command building, Ava suddenly stopped. "Captain." Marcus turned. "What is it?" Without saying another word, Ava knelt beside the dusty ground and pointed ahead. Pressed deeply into the gray volcanic ash was a single enormous footprint. Not human, not mechanical in any design known to Earth. The edges were sharp. The dust around it had not yet settled. Ava looked up slowly. "It passed through here." She tightened her grip on her rifle. "Not very long ago." Chapter 2: The Hunter. The enormous footprint left the 6 soldiers frozen for several seconds. It was unlike anything they had ever seen. Nearly 60 centimeters long and pressed several centimeters into the volcanic ash, it looked less like the footprint of a living creature and more like the impression left by an impossibly heavy machine. Captain Marcus Kane crouched beside it, running his scanner over the edges. The display flashed red before returning a single message. Unknown alloy detected. Marcus stood up slowly. This print is fresh. Whatever made it is still inside the colony. He looked at his team. Weapons hot. No one breaks formation. The squad advanced toward the command building with practiced precision. Ava Brooks took point with her sniper rifle, carefully scanning rooftops and windows through her scope. Ethan Cole guarded the rear with his heavy machine gun resting across his armored shoulder. Leo Grant continuously monitored the colony's electrical grid through his engineering tablet while Ryan Cross launched 2 miniature reconnaissance drones into the air. Maya Ortiz quietly checked everyone's biometric readings through the squad's network. Heart rates were elevated, but no one had lost control. The command center's massive entrance door stood half open, its thick steel frame twisted outward as though some tremendous force had ripped it apart from the inside. Leo examined the damaged hinges, running his fingers over the warped metal. This wasn't cut, he murmured. It was pulled apart. Ethan frowned. You're telling me something strong enough to tear military-grade steel apart is wandering around in there? Leo looked at him without smiling. That's exactly what I'm telling you. Inside, darkness swallowed the building. Emergency lights blinked weakly every few seconds, casting long shadows across abandoned workstations. Computer screens flickered with corrupted data while overturned chairs and scattered documents covered the floor. There were signs of panic everywhere, but one thing disturbed Maya more than anything else. "Captain," she whispered. Marcus turned toward her. "Where are the bodies?" No one answered because no one had an explanation. Ryan connected his portable terminal to one of the surviving computer systems. The monitor struggled to power on before displaying fragmented security files. "I'm in," Ryan said quietly. "Most of the database is corrupted, but I can recover portions of the security logs." Marcus nodded. "Start downloading everything." While Ryan worked, Leo moved toward the main power controls. "If I can restore electricity to at least part of the colony, we'll have cameras, lighting, and internal maps again." Marcus approved. "Do it." The lights suddenly flickered brighter as Leo rerouted emergency power. One by one, sections of the building came alive. Hallways illuminated. Security monitors rebooted. Air filtration systems groaned back to life after days of silence. Then, without warning, every monitor inside the control room flashed simultaneously. The same corridor appeared on each screen. Empty, motionless. Then a dark metallic figure crossed the hallway so quickly it almost looked like a visual glitch. Ava instantly raised her rifle. "Did everyone see that?" Ethan tightened his grip on his weapon. "Yeah, that wasn't a glitch." Ryan replayed the footage frame by frame. The figure appeared for less than half a second before disappearing around a corner. "It's moving faster than any combat robot I've ever seen," Ryan said uneasily. Marcus immediately issued an order. "Forget searching room by room. We move together." The squad followed the corridor shown on the security footage. Their boots echoed through the empty halls while steam drifted from broken pipes overhead. Every few meters they found more evidence of destruction. Entire security drones had been torn apart. Automated defense turrets lay crushed against walls. Blast doors designed to withstand missile strikes had been ripped from their frames. Ethan shook his head. Whatever this thing is, it wasn't fighting these defenses. He paused before finishing. It was dismantling them. A distant metallic clang echoed somewhere deeper inside the colony. Everyone stopped. Another clang followed. Then silence. Ryan looked around nervously. "Tell me that's just loose machinery." Before anyone could answer, Ava slowly whispered, "No." She pointed toward a ventilation shaft above them. Fresh scratches had appeared across the metal cover. Something heavy had crawled through it recently. Marcus spoke calmly despite the growing tension. "Keep moving." Several minutes later they reached Research Laboratory 4, where most of the alien excavation work had been conducted. The laboratory looked as though a tornado had swept through it. Scientific equipment lay scattered everywhere. Display tanks had shattered. Robotic arms hung lifeless from the ceiling. On the central workstation, however, one holographic recorder still functioned. Maya activated it. A middle-aged scientist appeared as a recorded projection. His face was pale with exhaustion. "If anyone finds this," he began, breathing heavily, "we made a terrible mistake." Behind him, frightened researchers rushed around the laboratory. "We discovered an underground structure nearly 2 kilometers beneath the colony. It wasn't natural, it was manufactured." The scientist swallowed hard. "We entered despite repeated warnings from the automated translation system." The recording briefly glitched before continuing. There was a chamber, and something inside it. Someone shouted in the background, "Doctor, it's waking up." The scientist looked over his shoulder before facing the camera again. "It isn't alive. Not in the way we understand life." The room suddenly shook violently. "It learns from every attack, every defense, every mistake we make." His voice trembled. "If you're watching this," he glanced toward something off camera, "don't try to fight." The recording ended abruptly. Silence filled the laboratory. Ethan exhaled slowly. "Well, that's comforting." Before anyone could respond, Ryan's wrist monitor emitted a sharp warning tone. "My drones just disappeared." Marcus frowned. "What do you mean disappeared?" "I lost both video feeds at the same time." Leo looked toward the hallway. "They didn't crash." Ryan checked the signal again. "No." His voice became noticeably quieter. "Something destroyed them." Almost immediately, every light inside the laboratory went dark. Complete blackness surrounded them. Only the white beams from their helmet lights pierced the darkness. Leo looked at his tablet. The power grid didn't fail. Marcus whispered, "Then who turned off the lights?" A heavy metallic footstep echoed somewhere beyond the laboratory door. Then another. Slow, measured, deliberate. The footsteps grew closer, each impact vibrating through the floor beneath their boots. No one moved. No one breathed. Then a towering silhouette appeared beyond the doorway. It stood nearly 3 meters tall, its body covered in dark metallic armor unlike any material known on Earth. Thin crimson lines glowed beneath overlapping plates that shifted with mechanical precision. 2 burning red eyes scanned the room, pausing briefly on each soldier as though analyzing them one by one. It showed no anger, no hesitation, no emotion. Ryan whispered, almost involuntarily, "That's impossible." The machine tilted its head slightly, as if acknowledging his voice. Marcus raised his rifle. Fire! 6 weapons erupted simultaneously. Armor-piercing rounds, explosive ammunition, and concentrated energy blasts slammed into the creature with deafening force. Sparks exploded across its body as smoke filled the laboratory. Ethan's heavy machine gun roared continuously, forcing everyone to cover their ears. For nearly 15 seconds, the squad unleashed everything they had. Finally, Marcus shouted, "Cease fire." The smoke slowly drifted away. The machine was still standing. Its armor bore only a handful of shallow scorch marks. Its glowing red eyes never left Captain Kane. Then, with a quiet series of mechanical clicks, small metallic plates shifted across its body, sealing even those minor impact marks. Leo stared in disbelief. It adapted. Without warning, the creature raised one massive arm. A brilliant blue energy pulse erupted across the laboratory, striking the far wall with tremendous force. The explosion threw the soldiers backward, shattering reinforced concrete and sending debris flying in every direction. Marcus struggled to his feet. "Fall back." The squad sprinted toward the emergency exit as another devastating blast tore through the laboratory behind them. None of them noticed that the machine did not chase immediately. It simply watched them run. As though it already knew, they had nowhere to escape. The 6 soldiers raced through the dimly lit corridors as pieces of concrete and twisted steel crashed behind them. The alien machine did not pursue them recklessly. Instead, its heavy footsteps echoed at a steady pace, neither speeding up nor slowing down. Captain Marcus Kane immediately noticed something unsettling. "It's not chasing us," he said while leading the team around a sharp corner. "It's controlling where we're going." Ethan glanced back, his heavy machine gun ready. "You're saying it's hurting us?" Marcus nodded. "Exactly. Stay alert. It wants us alive, For now, after several minutes of running, the squad reached the colony's central security hub. Thick blast doors still protected the room, and Leo quickly sealed them from the inside. Massive locking bolts slid into place with a loud metallic thud. For the first time since encountering the creature, the soldiers had a moment to breathe. Maya immediately began checking everyone for injuries. Aside from bruises and minor burns from the alien energy blast, no one had been seriously hurt. Ethan leaned against the wall, shaking his head. I've emptied enough ammunition to destroy an armored tank, and that thing barely has a scratch. Ryan hurried to the security network while Leo connected directly to the colony's power systems. Give me a minute, Ryan said, typing rapidly across the holographic keyboard. If the internal cameras are still functioning, we might be able to track it. Seconds later, dozens of security feeds appeared across the large display wall. Hallways, laboratories, storage bays, maintenance tunnels. Every camera showed complete silence. The machine had vanished. Where did it go? Ava asked quietly. Ryan zoomed through multiple camera angles. It doesn't make sense. What doesn't? Marcus asked. It should be somewhere. Ryan switched to thermal imaging. Nothing. Motion sensors. Nothing. Magnetic scanners. Nothing. Ryan looked genuinely disturbed. It's gone. Leo frowned. Something that weighs several tons doesn't just disappear. Marcus studied the screens carefully before speaking. No, he pointed toward the colony blueprint displayed beside the cameras. It isn't disappearing. Everyone looked toward him. Marcus continued calmly. It's staying where we can't see it. A heavy silence filled the room. Maya finally understood. The ventilation system. Leo quickly overlaid the ventilation network across the colony map. Thousands of narrow maintenance shafts connected nearly every building underground. Ryan stared at the display. It could be moving above us this entire time. Almost as if responding to his words, a dull metallic scraping sound echoed somewhere inside the ceiling. Everyone instinctively raised their weapons. The sound stopped. Then silence returned. Ethan forced a smile. I officially hate this planet. Marcus ignored the joke. Ryan, restore external communications. Ryan immediately began working. Several anxious moments passed before he slowly lowered his hands. I can't. Marcus looked over. What happened? The communication array isn't damaged. Ryan hesitated. It's missing. What? The entire transmitter has been removed. Leo looked shocked. Removed? Ryan enlarged satellite images taken before the colony lost contact. The massive communication tower had once stood beside the administration building. Now, only its empty foundation remained. Marcus narrowed his eyes. It tore the whole thing out. No, Leo corrected quietly. It dismantled it. That distinction made everyone uncomfortable. Destroying communications would have been instinctive. Removing them required planning. The machine wasn't acting like an animal. It was acting like a soldier. Maya searched through recovered research files while the others watched the doors. I found another recording. She activated the damaged log. This time the projection showed several scientists standing inside a gigantic underground chamber carved from black stone. Strange alien symbols glowed faintly across enormous walls surrounding a metallic platform. The lead scientist spoke excitedly. We've confirmed this structure predates human civilization by at least 2 million years. Another researcher interrupted. The object is responding to power. The camera turned toward a colossal metallic figure standing upright within a circular containment chamber. It was the same machine. Motionless, dormant. The scientist smiled nervously. It appears to be some kind of guardian. Suddenly warning sirens filled the recording. Containment failing. Energy surged throughout the chamber. One of the glowing restraints shattered. The recording became chaotic. Shut it down. It isn't responding. The giant machine slowly opened its crimson eyes. The last thing visible before the recording ended was the machine stepping calmly out of its containment ring. Nobody spoke. Finally Ethan muttered quietly, "So they woke it up." Maya nodded. And they had absolutely no way to stop it. Marcus crossed his arms. We're making one mistake. Everyone looked toward him. We're treating it like a monster. Ava understood immediately. You think it's military? Marcus nodded. It secured communications. It eliminated defenses first. It studies every attack. It doesn't waste energy. He looked around the room. Everything it's done has been tactical. Leo slowly added, which means, Marcus finished his sentence, it will predict ours too. Suddenly every security monitor inside the room flickered. Ryan looked confused. I didn't touch anything. One by one, every screen switched to static. Then, a single camera feed appeared. It showed the corridor directly outside the security hub. Empty. Nothing moved. Ethan relaxed slightly. False alarm. Before anyone could answer, a large shadow slowly crossed the camera. Not running. Walking. The machine stopped directly outside the blast door. Its glowing eyes looked straight into the security camera. Then, it simply stood there. No attacks. No movement. Just watching. Ryan whispered, why isn't it trying to break in? Marcus didn't answer. Something about the silence bothered him more than any attack could. Nearly 30 seconds passed. Then the machine turned away and disappeared from the camera. Everyone released the breath they had been holding. Ethan laughed nervously. Maybe it finally gave up. Marcus immediately shook his head. No. Then what was it doing? Marcus stared at the monitor. It was confirming where we are. Before anyone could respond, every light inside the security hub suddenly turned green. Leo looked toward the control panel. I didn't do that. The ventilation system powered on. Elevators restarted. Automatic doors throughout the colony unlocked simultaneously. Ryan checked the network. It's inside the main computer. Maya's expression changed instantly. It learned the colony systems. Leo's eyes widened. It isn't just hunting us anymore. It's taking control. Suddenly alarms blared across the building. Ryan quickly opened the emergency notifications. His face turned pale. Oh no. Marcus stepped forward. What is it? Ryan swallowed hard. The blast doors. Everyone turned toward the entrance. The thick steel locks began disengaging one by one. Clank. Another lock released. Clank. Then another. Leo rushed to the controls. I'm locked out. Ryan tried overriding the system. No response. Marcus immediately raised his rifle. Defensive positions. The final locking bolt slid open with a deep metallic boom. The massive blast door slowly creaked inward. Smoke drifted through the widening gap. No one fired. No one moved. For several endless seconds, nothing stood outside. Then a metallic object rolled quietly across the floor. It stopped in the center of the room. Ryan frowned. What is? Marcus's eyes widened. Move. The object exploded into a blinding blue electromagnetic pulse. Every electronic system inside the security hub died instantly. Helmet displays vanished. Communications failed. The room fell into complete darkness. Only emergency glow sticks mounted on their armor provided faint green light. Through the darkness, they heard it. One heavy footstep, then another. The hunter had finally entered their shelter. And this time, it had come prepared. The security hub disappeared into complete darkness. Every helmet display, motion tracker, and communication system had been disabled by the alien's electromagnetic pulse. Only the dim green emergency glow sticks attached to the soldier's armor cast enough light to reveal faint outlines of one another. Nobody spoke. In the darkness, even breathing sounded dangerously loud. Then another heavy metallic footstep echoed through the room. Slow, calm, deliberate. The hunter wasn't rushing. It knew panic was already doing half its work. Marcus tightened his grip on his rifle. Stay close. Visual confirmation only. If you lose sight of the person beside you, call out immediately. His voice remained steady, but everyone could hear the strain beneath it. Without their electronic equipment, they had lost every advantage modern soldiers relied upon. They were fighting almost blind. Ethan slowly moved toward the center of the room, positioning himself between the others and the entrance. If it comes through that door, he whispered, it'll have to get through me first. Ava glanced toward him. Don't be a hero. Ethan smiled faintly despite the danger. Too late. It's in my job description. Another metallic step. This time it sounded much closer. Ryan aimed his flashlight toward the entrance. Nothing. Only drifting smoke. Leo frowned. Where is it? Maya quietly answered. That's exactly what it wants us asking. Without warning, something heavy crashed against the far wall. Everyone spun toward the sound and opened fire instinctively. Muzzle flashes illuminated the room in rapid bursts. Bullets shredded empty filing cabinets. Concrete exploded from the walls. When the shooting stopped, there was nothing there. Marcus lowered his weapon. Cease fire. Silence returned. Then, from the opposite side of the room, another metallic impact echoed through the darkness. It baited us, Ava whispered. Marcus nodded. It's testing our reactions. Suddenly a red emergency light flickered to life near the ceiling. It didn't restore power, but it cast enough dim illumination to reveal portions of the security hub. The blast door stood open. The corridor beyond it was empty. Ryan slowly exhaled. Maybe it left. No, Marcus answered immediately. It doesn't waste opportunities. As if proving him right, the ceiling above them groaned loudly. Leo looked upward. The ventilation ducts. Before he could finish, the reinforced metal grate exploded downward. The alien machine dropped from the ceiling. Its massive body landed silently despite its enormous weight. Its crimson eyes scanned the room for less than a second. Then it attacked. The creature moved with terrifying speed, far faster than its calm walking pace suggested. One massive arm swung toward Ethan. He barely managed to raise his heavy machine gun in time. The impact hurled him several meters across the room, smashing him through a reinforced workstation. Metal and glass scattered everywhere. Ethan! Maya shouted. The giant soldier forced himself back onto his feet, coughing heavily. I'm all right. He wasn't. Warning indicators flashed across the cracked armor covering his chest. The hunter turned toward him again. Marcus fired repeatedly at its head while Ava targeted its glowing eyes. Sparks flew from the impacts, but the machine barely reacted. Ryan shouted, its attention is on Ethan. Marcus immediately understood. It identified the biggest threat. Leo quickly grabbed 2 plasma grenades. Cover me. He sprinted across the room while the others concentrated their fire. The hunter ignored everything except Ethan. Its targeting system had already prioritized him. Leo slid beneath a damaged console and attached both grenades directly beneath the machine's feet. Move! The entire squad dove behind cover. The twin explosions erupted with tremendous force. Flames filled the room. The shockwaves shattered every remaining window. Dust and smoke swallowed everything. For several long seconds, nothing moved. Ryan cautiously looked over the destroyed console. I think, before he could finish, a mechanical clicking sound echoed through the smoke. Everyone froze. The smoke slowly cleared. The hunter still stood. Its left shoulder armor had been blown away, exposing an intricate network of glowing mechanical components beneath. For the first time, it had been damaged. Ethan smiled. So you can bleed. The exposed machinery suddenly shifted. Dozens of tiny metallic fragments emerged from compartments across its body. The fragments swarmed over the damaged shoulder like living insects. Within seconds, fresh armor had formed. Leo stared in disbelief. It repaired itself. Maya's voice became almost inaudible. Nanotechnology. Marcus realized something horrifying. Every second we fight, it's learning. Ava finished. End healing. The hunter suddenly stopped moving. Its head tilted slightly, almost as though listening. Then every soldier heard it. A faint beeping sound echoed from Ethan's damaged armor. Leo looked horrified. Ethan, what? Your power core. The impact had cracked the portable reactor mounted inside Ethan's heavy combat suit. The damaged core emitted a powerful energy signature. The alien immediately turned toward him. Marcus shouted, "Shut your reactor down." I can't, Ethan yelled while desperately trying to override the controls. The safety systems locked. The hunter charged. This time it didn't walk. It accelerated with terrifying speed. Marcus, Ava, and Ryan fired continuously, trying to slow it. Bullets ricocheted harmlessly from its armor. Leo threw another grenade. The explosion staggered it for barely a second. That single second allowed Ethan to run. Fall back, Marcus ordered. The entire squad sprinted through the emergency exit into a maintenance corridor barely wide enough for 2 people. Pipes lined both walls while steam poured from broken valves overhead. Ethan remained several meters behind the others because of his damaged armor. Marcus looked back repeatedly. "Hurry, I'm trying." The hunter burst through the destroyed doorway behind them. Its glowing eyes remained locked onto Ethan. It ignored everyone else. Ryan shouted desperately, "Why isn't it attacking us?" Maya answered while running, "Because Ethan's reactor is the strongest energy source. It thinks he's the biggest threat." The corridor split into 3 different directions. Marcus pointed left. Everyone left. Ethan stumbled as sparks erupted from his damaged armor. "I can't keep up." Marcus turned around. "I'm not leaving you." Ethan stopped running. For the first time since the mission began, he smiled. "Captain." Marcus knew that smile. "No, you know if you come back. Ethan, we all die." The giant soldier removed the ammunition pack from his machine gun. Then he pulled every remaining grenade from his belt. Leo immediately understood what Ethan intended. "No." Ethan looked at his teammates one last time. "You've got engineers." He nodded toward Leo. "You've got brains." He glanced toward Ryan and Maya. "You've got the best sniper I've ever worked with." He smiled at Marcus. "And you've got the best captain." Marcus stepped forward. "We find another way." Ethan shook his head. "There isn't one." The hunter appeared at the far end of the corridor, closing the distance. Slowly, patiently, Ethan raised his machine gun. "I'll buy you time." Marcus hesitated for only a second. Then military instinct took over. He saluted. Ethan returned the salute. "Go." The remaining 5 soldiers disappeared around the corner. Ethan remained alone. The hunter stopped 10 meters away. For a brief moment, neither moved. Ethan laughed quietly. "You know." He loaded the last ammunition belt. "I've always wanted to see if one man could stop a monster." The machine took another step. Ethan opened fire with everything he had. The maintenance corridor erupted into thunderous gunfire as hundreds of armor-piercing rounds slammed into the advancing hunter. Sparks filled the narrow passage. Steam hissed from ruptured pipes, and Ethan roared defiantly while emptying every remaining bullet. When the weapon finally clicked empty, he smiled one last time, pulled the pins from every grenade attached to his vest, and whispered softly, "Let's see if you survive this." A blinding explosion tore through the corridor. The entire maintenance tunnel shook violently as fire, twisted steel, and shattered concrete collapsed inward, sealing the passage beneath thousands of tons of debris. Several corridors away, Marcus and the others were thrown off their feet by the tremendous blast. Dust rained from the ceiling. No one spoke. No one needed to. They all knew exactly what Ethan had done. 5 soldiers had arrived on Erebus 9. Now, only 4 remained. The explosion that buried the maintenance corridor echoed through the colony long after the fire had faded. Dust drifted from the ceiling as Captain Marcus Kane, Ava Brooks, Leo Grant, Maya Ortiz, and Ryan Cross stood silently in the narrow passage ahead. None of them spoke. Ethan's sacrifice had saved their lives, but the victory felt hollow. Marcus slowly removed Ethan's identification tag from the squad tracker and clipped it onto his own armor. 4 glowing indicators remained active on the display. One had gone dark forever. Ryan finally broke the silence. "Captain, do you think the explosion destroyed it?" Marcus didn't answer immediately. He stared back at the collapsed tunnel. "I hope so," he said quietly. Leo shook his head. "Hope isn't a strategy." Marcus looked at him. "No, it isn't." They continued deeper into the colony, following an emergency maintenance map that Leo had downloaded before the communications system failed. Their objective had changed. Finding survivors no longer seemed realistic. Instead, they needed answers. Answers that could explain what they were fighting and, more importantly, how to stop it. The corridors became older the farther they descended. The clean metallic walls of the human colony gradually gave way to smooth black stone unlike any material they had encountered before. Strange symbols covered the walls, glowing faintly with a blue light. The symbols weren't painted or carved. They seemed embedded within the rock itself. Maya stopped to examine them. These aren't decorations. Leo looked over her shoulder. What do you mean? They're conducting energy. She ran her scanner across one of the symbols. The entire underground structure is still active. Ryan frowned. After millions of years? Maya nodded slowly. Whoever built this place understood engineering far beyond ours. Marcus kept his rifle raised. Which means we're inside their facility now. The atmosphere grew colder as they descended another level. Even the sounds of the colony disappeared. No machinery, no ventilation. Only their footsteps echoed through the enormous underground halls. Ava suddenly raised her fist. Everyone stopped. What is it? Marcus whispered. She pointed toward the floor. Fresh scrape marks crossed the stone. Heavy, perfectly straight. Leo knelt beside them. Those weren't made by mining equipment. Marcus finished the thought. They were made by the hunter. Ryan looked around nervously. So it comes down here. Maya corrected him. No. She looked toward the endless darkness ahead. I think this is where it came from. The realization settled over the group like ice. They weren't exploring the monster's hunting ground. They were standing inside its birthplace. Several minutes later they entered an enormous circular chamber nearly 200 meters across. Towering black pillars stretched upward until they disappeared into darkness. Hundreds of inactive machines lined the walls, each enclosed within massive transparent chambers. Ryan's voice trembled. There are more. Marcus slowly scanned the room. Every chamber contained a metallic figure. Some were smaller, some larger. All of them resembled the machine hunting them. Fortunately, none of them were moving. Leo stared in disbelief. This isn't a laboratory. What is it? Ava asked. Maya answered softly. It's an armory. No one liked that answer. Marcus cautiously approached one of the chambers. Dust covered the transparent surface, suggesting it had remained untouched for thousands, perhaps millions, of years. The machine inside stood motionless with its eyes dark. Ryan swallowed. Please tell me they're all inactive. Before anyone could respond, a nearby terminal suddenly flickered to life. Blue holographic symbols floated above it. Maya carefully stepped closer. The translation software in my scanner is recognizing some of the language. She activated the terminal. After several seconds of processing, fragmented English text appeared. Autonomous war platform. Status. Active unit deployed. Remaining units. Dormant. Ryan read the words twice. Active unit. Marcus nodded grimly. The one hunting us. Leo looked toward the hundreds of silent machines. And these? Dormant. Nobody said another word. Marcus quietly switched off the terminal. We're leaving. As they turned toward the exit, another holographic recording activated automatically. This one was far older than the previous scientist logs. Instead of humans, strange tall humanoid beings appeared. Their silver skin reflected the chamber's blue light. One of them spoke while subtitles slowly translated. Our civilization has entered its final war. Another figure responded. Our enemies cannot be defeated by organic soldiers. The recording shifted toward rows of metallic guardians identical to the hunter. We created autonomous guardians to preserve our worlds. The subtitles continued. They adapt. They learn. They survive. A long pause followed before the final sentence appeared. They cannot be recalled. The recording ended. Leo quietly whispered. They built the perfect weapon. Ryan finished the sentence, and then lost control of it. Marcus looked toward the dark hallway ahead. Which means we're making the same mistake if we keep underestimating it. Suddenly, a low mechanical hum echoed through the chamber. Everyone froze. It wasn't coming from the dormant machines. It was coming from somewhere behind them. Ava slowly turned. The hunter stood at the far entrance. It hadn't made a sound approaching them. Its glowing crimson eyes examined each soldier one by one. Marcus immediately noticed something different. The damaged shoulder Ethan had destroyed. was completely repaired. Leo stared in disbelief. That's impossible. Maya lowered her scanner. It rebuilt itself. The machine took one slow step forward. Then another. It wasn't attacking. It was observing. Ryan whispered nervously. Why isn't it moving? Marcus narrowed his eyes. It's thinking. Almost as if confirming his suspicion, the hunter suddenly looked toward the holographic terminal. Then toward Leo. Then toward Maya. It had watched them studying the alien records. It understood they were learning. The machine immediately changed its priority. Without warning, it fired a concentrated blue energy beam directly at the terminal. The ancient computer exploded into molten fragments. Every remaining holographic file vanished instantly. Leo's eyes widened. It destroyed the database. Marcus understood exactly why. It doesn't want us learning its weaknesses. The hunter wasn't simply eliminating enemies anymore. It was eliminating information. That single decision proved something terrifying. It wasn't just intelligent. It was strategic. Marcus shouted, "Run!" The 5 soldiers sprinted through the massive chamber as another energy blast struck one of the towering pillars behind them. The entire structure trembled violently. Huge slabs of black stone crashed onto the floor, filling the room with dust and debris. The hunter advanced without hesitation. Its glowing eyes remained fixed, not on Marcus, not on Ava, but on Leo. Ryan noticed first. "Captain." Marcus glanced back. "It's following Leo." Leo looked confused. "Me?" Maya immediately understood. "You're the engineer." Everyone looked at her. She continued while running. "It saw you accessing the alien systems." Marcus realized the horrifying truth. It isn't targeting the strongest soldier anymore. It's targeting the biggest threat to its survival. Another blue energy blast narrowly missed Leo, striking the floor only meters away. Fragments of black stone exploded upward, forcing him to dive behind a fallen pillar. Marcus fired several rounds to distract the machine. It ignored him completely. Its entire focus remained on Leo. The hunter had adapted once again. And this time, it had begun choosing its victims. Leo Grant threw himself behind a fallen stone pillar just as another brilliant blue energy beam carved through the chamber. The blast struck the pillar with incredible force, showering the room with molten fragments of black stone. Marcus grabbed Ryan by the shoulder and pulled him behind another column while Ava fired 3 carefully aimed shots toward the hunter's glowing eyes. The bullets struck their target, forcing the machine to momentarily angle its head away, but it never stopped advancing. Every step echoed through the ancient chamber with terrifying confidence. "It's ignoring all of us," Ryan shouted. Marcus peeked around the pillar and immediately ducked back as another energy blast scorched the air above his head. "Because Leo is the only one who can figure out how to destroy it," Marcus replied. "It knows that now." Leo's breathing became heavier as he searched frantically through the engineering tablet strapped to his wrist. The tablet had automatically downloaded hundreds of alien system files before the hunter destroyed the central database. Most of the files were corrupted, but a small portion had survived in the local memory. "I've still got fragments of the archive," Leo called out. Maya crawled beside him while keeping her pistol aimed toward the hunter. "Can you read any of it?" "I'm trying." The alien machine suddenly changed direction and began moving around the pillars instead of destroying them. It wasn't taking the shortest path toward Leo anymore. It was predicting where he would run next. Marcus noticed immediately. "It's adapting again." Ava frowned. "What do you mean?" "It's learning our use of cover." The hunter fired another energy pulse, not at Leo, but at the pillar shielding him. The massive column shattered apart, forcing Leo to dive across the floor. Marcus cursed under his breath. It anticipated exactly where he'd move. Ryan stared in disbelief. "It isn't reacting anymore." Marcus nodded grimly. "It's planning." The squad retreated through a narrow passage leading away from the armory chamber. Unlike the enormous hall they had just escaped, this corridor was barely wide enough for 2 people to stand side by side. Ancient cables ran along both walls, glowing faintly beneath layers of translucent crystal. The strange blue light illuminated countless alien symbols stretching into the distance. Leo continued studying the recovered files while running. I've got something. Everyone looked toward him. It says these machines were powered by quantum fusion cores. Maya asked, does it mention a weakness? Leo scrolled through damaged lines of translation. Not directly. Another explosion echoed behind them as the hunter entered the corridor. Marcus looked back. It's closing. Leo continued reading. The outer armor constantly redistributes energy after every attack. Ryan frowned, which explains why bullets don't work. Exactly. Leo kept reading faster. But, he suddenly stopped. But what? The armor can't redistribute heat. Maya looked at him. What are you saying? Leo finally looked up. The armor adapts against kinetic attacks. It adapts against energy weapons. It even repairs structural damage. He pointed toward one translated sentence. But prolonged overheating forces the protective plates to separate. Marcus immediately understood, exposing the internal systems. Leo nodded. Exactly. Ryan's face brightened for the first time since arriving on Erebus 9. So we cook it. Marcus raised a finger. Not yet. Everyone looked at him. If it was that easy, the colony security teams would have figured it out. Leo agreed. There has to be another problem. Maya continued examining the translation. I think I found it. She enlarged another damaged section. The exposed core remains vulnerable for only a few seconds. Ryan sighed. So we'd need to overheat it and destroy the core immediately afterward. Ava finished. Marcus looked toward the corridor ahead, which means timing has to be perfect. Behind them, another heavy metallic footstep echoed through the tunnel. Closer, much closer. The hunter wasn't rushing. It had no reason to. It knew the soldiers had nowhere to go. The corridor finally opened into another enormous chamber, though this one looked completely different from the armory. Massive circular machines surrounded a deep central pit filled with glowing blue energy. Thick cables extended upward into the ceiling while enormous magnetic rings slowly rotated around the chamber. Leo stopped running. His eyes widened. I know this place. Marcus looked around. You've been here? No. Leo smiled despite the danger. I've seen diagrams of fusion reactors. He pointed toward the enormous rotating rings. This isn't a weapon. What is it? Ryan asked. It's a power station. Maya studied the alien symbols surrounding the machinery. The entire underground city runs from this reactor. Leo quickly examined the control panels. Not just the city. He looked back toward Marcus. This reactor powered every guardian stored in the armory. Marcus felt a chill run down his spine. Meaning if this reactor activates. Leo slowly nodded. Those dormant machines may wake up. Silence filled the chamber. No one wanted to imagine facing hundreds of hunters instead of one. Ryan quietly asked, can we shut it down? Leo shook his head. I don't think so. Can we overload it? Leo paused. Maybe. Marcus immediately noticed his hesitation. What's the catch? Leo looked toward the rotating magnetic rings. If we overload this reactor. He took a deep breath. The explosion could destroy the entire underground complex. Maya quietly added, and everyone inside it. Before anyone could speak again, a familiar metallic footstep echoed from the corridor behind them. The hunter emerged into the reactor chamber. Its crimson eyes slowly scanned the gigantic machinery. Then, to Marcus's surprise, it didn't look at Leo. It looked directly at the reactor itself. Marcus suddenly realized something was wrong. Very wrong. The machine wasn't protecting itself anymore. It was protecting the reactor. Marcus never took his eyes off the hunter. The machine stood motionless near the entrance of the reactor chamber, its crimson eyes fixed on the enormous fusion core suspended above the glowing energy pit. For the first time since arriving on Erebus 9, it wasn't looking at the soldiers. It was watching the reactor as if it were something precious. Marcus lowered his rifle slightly. It isn't defending itself. Leo followed the direction of the hunter's gaze. It's defending the reactor. Ryan frowned. But why? Maya looked from the rotating magnetic rings to the machine and suddenly understood. The reactor isn't just powering the underground city. Everyone turned toward her. It supplies energy to the hunter. Leo's eyes widened, and every dormant guardian. A heavy silence settled over the chamber. Marcus spoke quietly. If this reactor is destroyed, Leo finished the sentence, the hunter loses its power source. Ryan looked hopeful, and the dormant machines never wake up. But, Maya added carefully, if we destabilize the reactor incorrectly, the energy release could destroy half the planet's crust. Ryan's hopeful expression disappeared. So we're trying to save ourselves without blowing up the entire colony. Marcus nodded. Exactly. The hunter suddenly moved, not toward them, toward the main reactor controls. Its mechanical fingers slid across an ancient alien console with frightening precision. Blue symbols illuminated across the chamber, and the rotating magnetic rings immediately began spinning faster. Leo stared in disbelief. It's increasing reactor output. Marcus looked at him sharply. What does that mean? It knows we're planning to use the reactor. So it's strengthening its own power supply. The entire chamber vibrated as streams of blue energy surged into the machine through hidden conduits beneath the floor. The crimson glow beneath its armor brightened until it almost resembled molten metal. Ryan whispered nervously, I don't think we should have let it do that. Marcus replied without looking away. We didn't. It planned this before we arrived. The hunter raised one arm, and an energy blast struck the catwalk beneath Ava. The steel platform exploded apart, forcing her to leap onto a neighboring maintenance bridge. I'm separated, she shouted. Marcus immediately moved toward her. No, Leo grabbed his arm. Captain, that's exactly what it wants. Marcus stopped. The realization hit him immediately. The hunter had deliberately divided the team, one by one, just as it had throughout the mission. Ava steadied herself across the broken bridge and aimed through her scope. I've got a clear shot. Marcus nodded. Take it. She fired 3 armor-piercing rounds directly into the exposed joints around the hunter's neck. The first bullet ricocheted harmlessly. The second left a shallow groove. The third struck a glowing sensor near its shoulder. For the first time, the machine reacted. Its head snapped toward Ava. Marcus noticed something important. It protects damaged areas. Leo's mind immediately began working. So if we damage enough sections, it'll have to redistribute armor. Maya finished. The hunter charged toward Ava's platform. Marcus opened fire to distract it. Ryan launched 2 explosive drones. Leo threw a plasma charge beneath its feet. The combined attack forced the machine to shield itself, covering its upper body with shifting armor plates. Leo smiled. There. Marcus followed his gaze. For a split second, sections of the hunter's chest became exposed while the armor shifted to protect its head and legs. Maya quickly scanned the opening. I can see the heat vents. Leo looked at Marcus. The translation wasn't talking about the reactor core. Marcus understood. It meant the cooling system. Leo nodded excitedly. If we overload those vents, the armor will separate automatically. Marcus immediately began issuing orders. Ryan, distracted with the drones. Ava, keep targeting the sensors. Maya, monitor its temperature. He looked directly at Leo. Figure out how to overload those cooling vents. Everyone moved at once. Ryan's drones darted around the chamber, forcing the hunter to divide its attention. Ava fired with incredible precision, each shot pushing the machine to reposition its protective armor. Maya continuously updated the readings. Temperature rising. Still climbing. 81%. The hunter suddenly realized what they were doing. It abandoned Ryan's drones completely. Ignored Marcus. Ignored Ava. Ignored Maya. Its crimson eyes locked onto Leo once again. Marcus shouted, "It's going after the engineer." The machine accelerated with terrifying speed. Leo sprinted toward the reactor controls while typing furiously across his engineering tablet. "I almost have it." Another energy blast exploded beside him. The shockwave threw him across the platform. His tablet slid several meters away. Ryan ran toward it. "I've got it." The hunter immediately changed direction. Marcus couldn't believe what he was seeing. It reprioritized. Maya understood instantly. It isn't hunting people. It's hunting knowledge. Ryan grabbed the tablet and tossed it back toward Leo just before another energy blast destroyed the section of floor beneath him. Marcus lunged forward and caught Ryan's arm before he disappeared into the glowing reactor pit. "I've got you." With tremendous effort, Marcus pulled him back onto solid ground. Leo finally reached the control console. "I've done it." Every magnetic ring surrounding the reactor abruptly reversed direction. A deafening mechanical roar filled the chamber. Warning lights flashed everywhere. Maya looked at her scanner. The cooling system is failing. The hunter stopped. For the first time, it looked uncertain. Thin streams of white steam burst from vents across its body. The overlapping armor plates trembled. Marcus stared at the machine. "It's overheating." Leo's voice echoed across the chamber. Not for long. The hunter took another step. Then another. Its chest armor slowly began separating, exposing a faint blue glow beneath the metallic plates. Maya's eyes widened. The core. Marcus raised his rifle. Their first real opportunity had finally arrived. The battle for Erebus 9 had reached its turning point. The hunter was no longer invincible, but neither was it defeated. One mistake, one missed shot, or 1 second too late, and everything they had sacrificed would be for nothing. The fate of the mission now rested on whether they could strike before the machine adapted once again.